Greetings. Welcome back for day 11, or day 2 in Roman numerals, as it kind of feels like this, getting into the groove of this lockdown thing so far, but yeah, anyways, not feeling it too much. Okay, so on the news front today, we have got some interesting news, which is that the first piece of news I'm going to cover is apparently every cell phone network in South Africa will now be sending 2 COVID messages, or will be required to send 2 COVID SMS updates per day to all their subscribers, as well as any government announcement messages. Also, they will be required to provide free access to a list of COVID-related government health websites. I'm not too sure on the details of the list. I don't think they've published a list of the sites yet, but all these websites would be required to have data-free access according to new legislation which was published on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. This will be interesting. I mean, because it is quite hard, okay, not hard, so to speak, to find the COVID information, but because everywhere, like everywhere you look on the internet, there's COVID this, COVID that, or pretty much every single news site, every single newspaper, and so on. Although there's quite a lot of fake news out there, so I'm hoping this will, to some degree, I'm not sure how they plan to run it, but I'm hoping to a certain degree they can try filter out some of the fake news and, basically give people an update on how things are going, and this would mean that more people should be in the know of how the coronavirus situation is going and how many cases there are, and so on and so forth, which means more people will be more aware, because I'm pretty sure currently a lot of people are unaware, in that I'm pretty sure that if you ask my nieces and nephews in the house how many corona cases there are today, or what the current status, or what the latest released statistics are, they'd be, I'm sure they'd have no idea. But if you ask them for the latest lyrics on a trending song, for example, they know all about that. So I guess it's a good way to get the information out, and yeah, people should get to know what's going on. And in other news, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who on Sunday was admitted for a checkup at the hospital because they were worried that since he still had the fever symptom, that something more serious might be going on, has now been, on Monday, has been moved into intensive care. Not too sure about the exact details, but I presume this means that his condition may have worsened, so yeah, hopefully we will learn more about what's going on there, and hopefully it won't be too serious, because yeah, at a time like this, I dare say the last thing we would need is to lose a prime minister, or the last thing the UK would need is to lose a prime minister. So yeah, that's the Boris Johnson side of things. That's been kind of mentioned a bit in the media. And then on another story, a prisoner apparently has tested positive for COVID-19 at a prison here in South Africa, which is a disturbing thing because prisons are very, very crowded. And yeah, basically, pretty much it'll be like a petri dish for COVID-19 if it manages to get into one of the prisons. I'm not sure what measures they're taking or how many prisoners in fact, I'm not sure how on earth they'd go about trying to isolate the prisoners or anyone that he might have been in contact with, because it could be quite a large number of people. I'm not sure of how their eating arrangements or how many people are in a cell and so on and so forth, where they meet. Do they go to gym together, or are there any activities that the prisoners group up for? Because that would be another threat. And yeah, so if it's now in the prison system, that's kind of worrying, and I'm hoping that they do manage to lock it down or somehow get it. In fact, it'll be kind of hilarious to have a lockdown in a prison inside a lockdown in the country. But they're going to have to do something, because if this gets into the prison population, it's going to be catastrophic. And I'm not sure how many prisoners they have at that particular prison, or if it might even have spread to other prisons around the country. Because the problem is now that you've got a lot of people misbehaving, and obviously there's a lot of people doing crimes such as robbing shops and things like that that have been going on. Like, they've been hitting liquor stores and places like that due to the fact that they can't buy it anywhere. And so that's fueled a black market, which has brought up the crime. And yeah, so you have more people getting arrested and going into the prisons now from outside. So the possibility that one of the people that they might arrest might be someone who spreads it, and I'm presuming that if the prisoner tested positive, then he must have had symptoms, which means if he had symptoms, he'd already been spreading it for possibly 2 to 3 days, which gives you another idea of the situation, because now how many people has he infected? And in turn, how many people might they be infecting right now as I'm recording this? And yeah, well, that's the problem with exponential mathematics, I guess. Everything just multiplies up way too fast. A little bit like when you get in debt to your bank and they start adding interest on interest on interest, and yeah, you get the general idea. And in the last piece for today, kind of interesting, a tiger at the Bronx Zoo has apparently tested positive for COVID. And according to the story I saw on TV, apparently the tiger developed a dry cough. So, okay, I guess, oh, okay, I've seen a cat sneeze, I think, once, although I can't, it must have been quite a sight to see a tiger coughing. Although this here does kind of raise something interesting to me, because now, if the tiger managed to contract COVID, how exactly would this happen? Because, yeah, well, it spread from people to animals, and if so, can it spread vice versa? I saw there was a suggestion by scientists that this might mean that cats could be at risk from COVID, because if it affects them, then that means essentially cats might develop pneumonia if they got COVID, or if they were, to say this on the same maths, if they were in the unfortunate 5 to 10% of the feline population which would develop, well, debilitating circumstances from contracting corona, then does that mean that people's pets are at risk? And if so, does this mean that, well, yeah, I mean, is it going to, like, is it going to affect dogs, or is it going to start affecting birds next? I mean, because that would actually be pretty scary, like if it mutated cross species again. And yeah, I mean, because yeah, this could be quite a super virus. If it can affect pets and humans, then it's just a matter of time until pretty much, yeah, well, I guess it's Darwin's dream bug in a way, survival of the fittest. And I'm hoping I survive this, and yeah, I'm fit enough to carry on and see how things carry on once we get out of lockdown. Not to say that we won't, but if we do ever get out of lockdown, because this lockdown thing, I've just been thinking about it, and yeah, pretty much being on lockdown isn't the perfect solution to fighting COVID, because essentially it's similar to everyone hiding in your house while the criminals roam the streets, and it's not safe for anyone to come back onto the streets because the criminals are still there. Does that make sense? So until we figure out a way to counteract COVID, or, well, I'm not sure, I presume until they eradicate it, like if they can actually starve it of new hosts entirely and get like a proper 100% lockdown, which I don't think is actually possible because certain things need to keep running. So there's always people out there, which means there's always a risk that the COVID could keep spreading. Slower, yes, but as long as the COVID's there, nobody's safe. So pretty much we need to, yeah, I guess we just got to ride this out and see how it goes. But I'm not seeing this lockdown scenario being too effective too quickly. So, okay, I mean, like, I'm not seeing it being 100% effective, which is essentially what we need. So, yeah, it's not going to be 100% effective in the near future as far as I can see it. So, yeah, pretty much that's it. Sorry to finish on a downer, but hope you guys are staying strong, staying safe, staying at home, and yeah, till next time. Salute, I'm out of here. Peace, peace.